What's good, you guys? I hope that you're doing so lovely today, and I can't wait to get into this reading because today we are going to be looking at your aura and how it is affected by the moon. And what better day to do this reading than on the night of the full moon, the super blue moon. But I also do just want to clarify with you guys that this reading is not just limited to the night of the super blue moon, even though I'm doing it around that time. I'm basically just going to be showing you guys the energy of the moon in general and how it affects your aura. So this reading is going to be timeless, so whenever you come across this, just know that I'm not limiting it to the super blue moon, because obviously that energy is super rare. Some might say once in a blue moon. Sorry. But yeah, so if you're new here, I welcome you. I'm so glad to have you here. Your presence is a blessing, truly. And if you're returning, I welcome you back. And again, your presence is truly a blessing, and I love you all. But if you are new here and you're not really sure how this is going to work, I'm just going to give a quick little explanation beforehand. So I'm going to give you 4 piles to choose from, and then you choose based off of your intuition, whatever pile that you feel called to. And each pile is going to have a picture as well as a sound, so make sure to keep your volume up and listen for the sounds. And then once you pick your pile, you can go down to the timestamps, which will be in the description as well as in the comments, and go to your pile. And then what I'll be doing is explaining the energy, and you'll also see me drawing out the aura and explaining the energy behind it while I do so. You'll kind of see how it goes as we go along. It's really fun and it's really cool, and I am always so blown away by the energies that I pick up on. You guys are the coolest collective, I swear to God. So all you have to do is just pick a pile and go to that pile, and I'll do the rest for you. And yeah, so let's just jump right into the pile selection. And remember to keep your volume turned up. Alrighty, pile number 1. First of all, thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait to get into this reading because, if I'm honest, this might be my favorite reading, like specifically your pile, that I've ever done. It is so cool, and if you've been here before, you know that sometimes when I draw out the aura, it'll come through as like a story and in pictures rather than a feeling that I try to portray through the colors. This was so, oh my god, there were so many synchronicities, and like everything just made so much sense. It was so cool, and it worked so well with like the theme of the reading, which is how the moon affects your aura. We're gonna get into it, but it's so freaking cool, and I can't wait to show you. So anyway, so the first thing that I do want to mention is the song that played with your picture at the very beginning. So that song is by an Austrian guitarist, and I don't know if you've ever heard of him. I will definitely link him down in the description because he is phenomenal. And his name is Bernth. But for this specific song that he played, what he did is actually filled his guitar with water and then played the song, and it was so beautiful. And it was also like a really emotional and sad song because he like made it known that this was going to be the last song that he could ever play on this guitar because the water was ruining it. And he said that he could like feel it bending, like the wood bending as he played the song, and it was so emotional. It's such a good song. Like I said, I will definitely link it down there. But I also got so many specific and connected messages. So the picture that you chose, not only do I think it's a great representation of how the moon affects your aura, but I do also think that it helped me connect a lot of dots to form a story that I had no intention of doing until I started to make this video. So when I look at this picture, obviously, yeah, I see a wolf and the phases of the moon, but when I look at it, like, from just a quick glance, it looks like a foot. Like, the sole of the foot and the toes, and thought that was really weird because I was like, I don't know what that means. But then I started thinking about it, and I started drawing out the aura, and I was like, whoa, okay, hold up. You have so much power with connecting to the earth. And I think that the moon really helps enhance that power because of all the energy that it's putting down into the earth. And I definitely do get the sense that you're a water sign, or you might have a lot of water in your chart, because I think the moon has a very strong impact on you. But then again, you could also have a lot of earth in your chart, or at least have like an earth moon or a water moon. I get like specifically Scorpio and Capricorn, but obviously you can have any placements. I just feel that energy really strongly. But the moon affects water here on earth, right? It's responsible for tidal waves, and I think that you have this connection to the moon, and even if you're not really consciously aware of it, you feel the effects of the moon very strongly. Like you feel it deep in your body, and I think that it has a very profound impact on just your soul, like at a soul level. It's not just the water in your body, it's your light body, if that makes sense. But I get this feeling that you work as like a pole that transfers energy from the moon to down into the earth. And you're able to transmute energy. Like if you have negative energy in you, then the simplest way to get rid of that negative energy is to hand it off to Mother Earth. Just stand outside with your feet on the ground, barefoot, obviously. And this was really cool actually, because I got the strongest message when I started to like actually work through this. So, and it's weird too, because I just said that you are like a pole for like transferring. You know what else does that? Trees. I should have just said that. It's much easier to explain. But your energy is literally like a tree. And it was so cool because we don't think of trees as like souls. I mean, that sounds like really harsh, but you know what I mean. Like a tree is a tree. You don't think much of it normally, just like on a typical day-to-day conversation. But what I was seeing was so specific, and it was like your energy is similar to like an old, really tall oak tree. And what I get from this is this, it's like a metaphor, okay? So you've seen so much, you've been around for so long, you've had to hold your ground during the most brutal storms, but you know that you're strong enough to withstand any amount of pressure, no matter what life throws at you. And you're firmly rooted in your truth and your identity. And just like a tree, the life that you've been given is not something that you can change. You can't really change your circumstances. But a tree doesn't give up. Like a tree is always going to be stuck in one place its whole life until it's eventually chopped down, or it breaks and falls, or it burns in a wildfire. But yet it still uses all of the energy that it can to give to us, to give back to the world. And whatever energy that it receives from the sun, the moon, the rain, all of the elements around it, it is always giving back. It is giving back that energy. It is a welcoming home to woodland creatures. It's still providing us fresh air. It's still giving us the fruits that it grows. And even though it can't move, and it might be in, really tough circumstances, it never stops giving. It never stops providing. And on top of all that, it looks beautiful while it does it. And I think that's exactly how your energy is. You are so nurturing and giving, and you're there to provide, and you want to provide, and it doesn't matter how hard of a time you're going through, or in this case, like how strong of a storm you have to endure. You're there to provide for people. And I think that you don't get told how important you are enough. The people in your life appreciate you more than they'll ever be able to express. And I just want you to know that, because I've never even thought about it this way. I've never thought about any message like this, but it came through in such a beautiful way. And then, like I said earlier, that I was drawing out your aura, and it came through in like pictures. I didn't try to make any of these pictures, but I kept seeing more and more like woodland creatures pop up. And so I'll start to draw them out just to show you what I'm talking about. But to explain the aura, at least like what we have so far, is the process of being the tree, right? And then when it rains, all of that energy gets pushed down into the center of the earth. And then there's like a powerhouse at the very center of the earth that when that energy hits it, it comes back up. And that's why all the rainbow, it's kind of like wires. Like it comes down as roots and then goes back up as energy, which I thought was really cool how it came through that way. And I did want to make the center kind of look like the moon, because I think that has a lot of intense energy attached to it and has a lot to do with the energy that is being transmuted in the first place. So then you'll start to see I just kind of am making adjustments and moving things around, trying to get all the shapes right and kind of feel it out and adjust things to how they feel or how they look, at least in my head. Which it was really hard to capture this energy, but I think that the way that it ended up turning out, somehow it makes total sense. It fits the energy and exactly what I was trying to explain. But as I'm adjusting things, you'll start to see all of these different animals show up. Like what I'm working on right now, tell me that's not a butterfly, a blue butterfly. So any of these animals that I talk about that show up could definitely resonate with you or be a spirit guide to you in some way. And if you see any other animals that I don't mention, definitely let me know, because this was a lot of fun. just finding animals in here, and I'm sure there's a lot more. This one 100% looks like a frog. I don't know if you can tell. You got like the little arms and everything, and then I saw like a little bird down here, which was really cute. I was just kind of, it already looked like a bird, but I was like, I'm gonna make it chunky, I'm gonna make it cute, and I was just kind of messing around with it. So we've seen the butterfly, the frog, the bird, and then I just kind of shifted it around to see what else I could see. And then I looked up here, and this whole face, at first was like kind of freaky, because it kind of looked like a monster to me, like with the big nose and everything, but then I was like, oh my god, if you think about it like in a different way, if you've ever read the book Where the Wild Things Are as a kid, it totally reminded me of that, and it made it a lot less freaky because it totally looked like a wild thing, and I'm like, that would make a lot of sense. I feel like you're very wild in that sense, not like crazy wild, but I mean like your soul is like a wild spirit. And then I started to see up here like this super cool like octopus, like there's his eyes up there, and then I tried to kind of shape the tentacles so that you could see it better if you weren't seeing it already. And octopuses are my favorite animal, and I had never drawn one like this before, and it was just there, and I was like, what? That's crazy, because I did that totally by accident, but it looked really cool. And so I was trying really hard to just like, you know, I hope you guys can see what I'm talking about. There was a lot going on in the background, and there were just colors everywhere, so it was very like, you had to be very selective of what you were seeing. And then with this one, I saw a bat, which I made it super cute, and oh my god, I love it so much. He's adorable, and I love him. And I feel like you might be this way where like animals that are typically like considered creepy or scary or annoying or whatever to other people, I feel like you don't see them that way. I feel like you're just loving of all animals, all creatures, and that's why I feel like your soul is so wild. And you have that connection to the earth and but also to the moon, and it's this really cool balance between the two. And now this next part that I draw out blew my mind because I had no intention at all of making what comes up. I was just going with the flow, and I was just, because I had already picked up on the messages that like animals were coming through, so I was just kind of adding scribbles to see what would happen. And look at this. It is literally a figure that looks like a person who's looking over all of everything that nature is, and it looks to me like somebody who's genuinely bringing down energy from the moon. And I don't know how it captured what I was feeling so well. It was insane. Because it's so hard to explain, because this picture, at least for me, I don't know, you guys will have to let me know in the comments if it makes sense to you, if you feel that energy too, but this was the finished aura, and it just is so perfect. I cannot describe that energy in any other way. The painting just fits so good, and like, even with like this part here in the middle, I don't know how this happened, but it literally looks like a person, a man, or a woman, I guess, but they're looking like at their reflection in the water. Hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about and you can see that, because that was insane and not planned at all. All of the colors fit so perfectly. It looks like there's like the two green parts, they're like plants but like energy at the same time, and they look like they're going into the person's head, kind of like earbuds or headphones. And I feel like that's that. It's almost like you could take earbuds or your headphones or something and then put them in and then just plug them into the dirt, like in the ground, and you would just hear it. You would know, you would be connected to earth. It's crazy. I love this energy, and it is the coolest aura I think I've ever done.
And I just want to say thank you again for being here. And if you did like this reading and you like what I do, if you could please show me some support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And of course, hit that bing bong so that you never miss a new upload from me. And with that, I hope you have a week as beautiful as you, and I hope to see you again in the future. I love you. Bye! Hi, pile number 2. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm really excited to start doing this reading for you guys. I just want to say, first off, your aura, for some reason, was so difficult for me to actually feel confident with. Like, the way that I was approaching it, I felt like I was really confident with it, but then I just kept adding, like, too much. And there was so much there, and I felt like I couldn't, like, focus on just one aspect of your aura. Everything about it and all of the little details that I was adding, they were very prominent in my mind, and so I couldn't add like a complementary aspect to it. It was all like, everything that I added was like the main aspect that I was working on. It was like the standing out part of the aura. So I'm like, okay, I have all this stuff and it's all standing out, and nothing is like being added on to another part. It's all the main event, you know? So I could not figure it out, and I even had to restart this aura like 5 different times, and I don't know why it felt so frantic.
So for that very reason, I'm going to actually draw an emotion card and see what emotion comes out. I do want to mention though that for some reason I pick up on the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. And I'm also getting the number like 36, 38, or like 28. I don't know why those were coming through. And 34. So that could be your age, it could be a number that is important to you. I don't know. Also, if you're life path number 8, I don't know why these things are coming through right now. Like, it feels so frantic and all over the place. Every time I am confident with starting and I'm okay with where it's going, it's like, but did you consider these 50 other things? And I'm like, but wait, I haven't even finished the one thing. So anyway, literally what just happened. I'm gonna pull an emotion card. That was the one thing, and then I got sidetracked by 50 other things, so. Whew. Okay, obviously, and I'm doing it again right now, literally, but I feel like the moon has a huge impact on your focus levels. You might just become very frantic and maybe panicky almost. Kind of like, what do they call that? Like, it's not like moon fever, but what is that? It's not moon mania. Lunatic? Is that it? When you're like a lunatic, but it's because of the moon? I don't know. You know what I mean. You become like crazy. But it's not like a bad crazy, it's just like you cannot focus. You can't stay on one track. I'm gonna pull an emotion card. Or a few, depending on what comes out. So let's see. Also, I just looked at the clock at 3:33. Okay, so one card came out and it says sad. And it's weird because it says sad and it's the number 4, and I just said 3:33. And I did say 34, so you could be sad and 34. Okay, I'm not trying to like laugh at you if you're sad. I get it. Oh, okay. Did I upset you with that? I feel bad now. The rage card just flew out. Really? Dude, okay, I pulled out one more card, and it's totally different than the other ones. And it's number 2, diamonds, and it just says silly. So I got sad, rage, and silly. This is so this energy. Okay, and on the bottom of the deck is smug. And it's number 3, which is hearts. So you got 2, 3, 4, and a king, and smug, silly, sad, and rage. Basically, these cards didn't help me with the energy at all. I have no clue what this energy is. Like, I really want to, but I feel like that is the energy I'm trying to pick up on, is like the fact that I can't figure it out. And this reading is about, it's not me trying to figure out your personality, but it's like how the moon affects you, and I am feeling it so strong. But I feel like around the time of the full moon, maybe, that's a time that really affects you. You probably, I feel like you would drink a lot of water. I say that because of the theory that the moon affects us, because the moon is responsible for like tidal waves and it affects the water, and so if we are however much, like 80% water or something, then that would make sense why the moon affects us. But if you're drinking a lot of water, I feel like the moon definitely has like a huge impact on you. Or if you live near water, maybe that could be a huge thing too, because it's just affecting that energy around you, and so you might get kind of swept away in all the other surrounding energy. And especially because I was picking up on like Sagittarius energy, I feel like naturally you have a very fire sign type of vibe, or at least way of life. You're usually very confident about things, and like you're focused and determined, and like you know what you're doing, and you're worried about you, and like that's, you don't get distracted normally. But around the time of the full moon, I swear something happens and it just like it throws you all off course for like a good few days. So if you are a fire sign, let me know. If any of that resonates, let me know. I'm very curious to know, because this energy was wild. But if there's anything that I can actually offer you from this reading, is just be consciously aware of what's going on with you and your emotional state during times of the full moon, and realize like it's not you if you feel like you're going crazy. It's just be aware and maybe plan ahead if it's something that definitely affects you, and try to just stay in tune with yourself, and specifically your physical body. I know how it feels to get stuck in your head and then worry about everything that could possibly go wrong. And if you hear thunder in the background, it just started pouring and thunderstorming because, unhinged energy in this reading. But like I said, just stay in tune with your physical body by meditating, And what I personally like to do is get in touch with your senses. So whenever I'm feeling stuck in my head, I try to notice 5 things that I can see, 4 things that I can feel, 3 things that I can hear, 2 things that I can smell, and then 1 thing that I can taste. So I really hope that that helps. But with all that being said, this is your finished aura, and I think it turned out really well considering I was really nervous because I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't know how it was going to turn out with all of the energy that was coming through, but I really like it a lot. I think it's really pretty, and I think it does the right job of like capturing that energy that I was feeling, but it's not overwhelming. Like, it's not like a negative kind of overwhelming. It's just like, this is a lot at this time, but it's gonna pass, you know?
So I'm going to go ahead and leave that here, but if you like this reading and you like what I do, if you could please do me a solid and show me some support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, and of course, hit that bing bong so that you never miss a new upload from me. With all that being said, I hope that you have a week as beautiful as you, and I hope to see you again in the future. I love you. Bye!
Hello, file number 3. I'm so excited to do this reading, and I just want to thank you for being here. So with your aura and the way that the moon affects it, I think that this is a really cool energy because I get this sense of nostalgia with your aura. And I feel like there might have been some connection in your childhood to the moon that to this day you think back on it, and I don't know what exactly that memory was. It might have been, it could even be like, and this is really weird because I feel like if I had a pile, this would be it, but I just now made this connection. You could have had a nickname that had something to do with the moon. So, like, for instance, my childhood nickname that my brother gave me was Moon Eyes because I always had like big, bright, huge eyes. And so that stuck with me to this day. And so you could have had something like that, or you could have very fond of memories looking at the moon, watching the stars with your family, or just like being camping at night and seeing the moon. And so I feel like now, whenever you feel the energy of the moon, you can relate that energy and that feeling back to when you felt it in your childhood. And whatever memories are attached to that energy is that same feeling you get now when you feel the energy of the moon. So I would definitely say, like, on full moons, that energy is a lot stronger, but it's a really good feeling. And it's very, like I said, nostalgic, and it's really sweet. Like, there's a lot of, like, playful and almost naive kind of energy to this. It's very pure, it's very innocent, it's very childlike, but not, like, childish. It's just that sense of wonder and not having anything to worry about really as a kid because you don't know the real world yet. You're still learning. It's like naivety and purity and innocence and wonder. And it's really sweet because especially with, I want to point out the sound that went with your picture that you chose. I figured that, like, a lot of people wouldn't know what this even was. I didn't even know what this was. I just found it recently, and so when I saw it, I was like, that is so cool, and it is so different, and it's something that nobody ever talks about, because, like, nobody does this except, like, the people that do it, I guess. But it's such a cool instrument. And what it is, like, you know how people do that thing with their finger on, like, the tip of a wine glass? It's that, but it's like a piano made out of glass bowls. And so the bowls are all lined up. I'll probably just insert a little clip right here of the where I got this song from, but it's this guy who's literally, like, doing that thing that you do on wine glasses, but on glass bowls, and they're all lined up, and they're different sized bowls so that they all make different notes. It is so cool, and it is such an enchanting sound. Like, I love it. And for some reason, like, the little snippet that I used as your sound for this pile, it reminded me of the circus, which again ties in really well to that, like, childlike energy. And I just feel like there's a high level of curiosity as well with you and the moon. I feel like it's always something that is, like, there, and you can trust it, and you see it at night, and it's very it's, like, comforting to you. But I feel like you have, like, a deeper sense of the moon's energy, and you wish that you could almost talk to it. You feel like you can talk to it. And I do think that you should harness this, if you haven't already, to actually manifest more. I think the moon is trying, and this is a crazy message, I didn't know this was going to come through, but the moon almost wants you to use its energy to manifest, because you and the moon have such a close relationship, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. The moon wants you to know, it's like a message from the moon, that it is there for you. It is there connecting with you all the time, and you have that energy. You have that power to work with the moon's energy and it wants you to utilize that power as much as possible. It's not selfish, it's not greedy or anything. You were given this strength and this power in this lifetime to work with the moon. So that's why it comes so easy to you. So you're being told to utilize that to manifest the life that you want, the things that you want. And also to be more open and accepting of your feminine energy. I get this sense that you might have had like a maybe some difficult relationships with like females, maybe female parental figures in your life, like in your childhood, maybe. So you always turn to like the more masculine people in your life. And so maybe you have kind of just learned to shut down your feminine energy because you correlate that with the toxic femininity in your life in the past. But if there's ever an imbalance, the moon wants you to look to it for help with that. And especially if you feel like you need to manifest more feminine energy into your life, more balance in your emotions, your emotional state, your nurturing side, look to the moon, ask it for help. It is there to help you. And yeah, I just kind of get this feeling that like the moon is there to be like a parent for you. It's really sweet. And oh my god, I'm just now thinking of The Bear in the Big Blue House. If you ever watched that show as a kid, which is also funny because it's a kid show and like oh my god, this is crazy. But Luna would like always come talk to Bear at night, and oh my god, that's so cute. That's your guys's okay. This turned into like um two-person reading, and it's just the relationship between you and the moon, and it's so cute. I ship it. not like not like romantically, obviously, but like oh my god, it's so cute. It's like the moon's always watching over you, and oh my god, and if you like had a difficult relationship with like your mom or like the female parental figure that I was talking about, the moon was always there to like step in when you didn't have a mom or like a motherly figure. The moon was like, I got you, I'm adopting you. And you were like, okay, oh, this is so cute. I love this energy, for real. And even that even makes sense like with the picture that you chose because like the crescent moon is in the girl's head basically, but it's kind of like you'll always have a part of me. I can't. That's so precious. I love how that came out.
So with all that being said, pile number 3, this is your finished aura, and I really love how it turned out, and I loved this message. If I could just summarize it for you guys, I would say that you are being encouraged and called to use and harness the energy of the moon as you would a motherly figure. And whenever you feel the moon's energy, definitely start to tap back into your inner child and think about what that inner child needs and look to the moon for that, whatever that may be, the comfort, the nurturing, the support, anything that you need and would ask for from a mother figure in your childhood that you didn't necessarily get. The moon is there for you, and she loves you, and she's going to be there for you 100% of the time. And when her energy is the brightest and the most strong around you, harness it and manifest with it and talk to it and really feel empowered by it because you have such a strong connection to the moon and it's beautiful. And I really hope that you enjoyed this reading. I had a lot of fun doing it, and like I said, I loved this energy. And if you did like this reading and you like what I do here on this channel, if you could please do me a solid and show me some support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And of course, hit that bing bong so that you never miss a new upload from me. And with all that being said, I hope that you have a week as beautiful as you, and I hope to see you again in the future. I love you. Bye. Last but not least, pile number 4, thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to get into this. So what I got from your guys' aura and what I can see in terms of how the moon affects your aura, the moon is really wanting you to use your energy more and harness the energy of the moon more. And I think that you are, okay, first of all, you're very smart, you're very creative, you're very talented. I think that you have a kind of distant nature when it comes to maybe collaborations or getting your ideas out there or letting other people in. I think that either you feel like your work isn't good enough or
you feel like your work is so good that you don't want to let other people in to help you with it because you don't want them to mess it up. You're independent, but I think that there's something underlying that is the reason for that. And it's not necessarily like a good kind of independent, and it definitely can be, but I think that's where the energy of the moon needs to influence you more, because I do think that the moon has a direct influence on you when you're in your creative energy. And I think that it can really help you in a really positive way if you just allow it to, you know? I think that the moon had a very big impact on you throughout your whole life, whether you realize this or not. But it it fuels that creative spark in you. And I think that you're very adventurous. You're very intelligent when it comes to the mechanics of things, the logistics of things. But I think that maybe you think a little too hard about things. You overthink maybe. And the moon wants to be there for you to just help you find new creative energy, find new ideas, and kind of just relax. And instead of putting so many technical pieces together when it comes to a project, a creative project, it wants to help you get into your more watery, feminine side of like letting go with, or I tried to say letting go and then go with the flow. So I was going to say letting go with the flow, whatever that means. But what I got from your aura is I was starting to draw out so many like different little parts and all these little details in it, and it started to look like plaid. And there was like this aura compared to the other ones, there were so many tiny details, and I was trying to like pick at every little part of the aura. And I feel like that's how you are, where like everything has to be perfect and it has to look great and it has to go exactly the way that I want it to go. And if I let somebody else in, like, yes, there's a chance that they can help me, but there's also a chance that they can ruin it for me or steal my idea or make it worse. And then I'll feel bad because if I'm putting something out there that someone else ruined, then everyone thinks it's my fault. If you think that way, let me just start by telling you that that feeling is valid. And I felt this way for a very long time, so I totally get it. And it's okay to have that fear, but it's also okay to be vulnerable, because there's going to be times where, you know, we let somebody in and maybe they don't add exactly what we thought they were going to add to our work. But you never know. And having those connections and trusting other people and being more open to other people's input is really important, especially when it comes to being creative and getting your creativity out there. Because it's going to be a lot about connecting to people. And you never know, because even if seeing somebody's perspective, just like without any background or explanation, you can determine a lot about a person through that. But if you give somebody the chance to explain why they do what they do and kind of see their thought process and how they work and why they do what they do, it's really interesting what you'll learn. And you might even learn like some new techniques from people. And if anything, you'll just, be able to get your name out there. You'll be able to make these connections, and maybe they can spread your name to other people. Like it really does help. Even if there's one project that you work with them on that it didn't go as you planned, that's totally fine. Because there's going to be projects that you do on your own that people aren't going to like, and that's just a part of life. That's just how things are going to go, because you have to accept the fact that failure is going to happen. But it's when failure happens that you can start to grow from that. You can see what went wrong, and you can take it as an opportunity to better your work. However, if you're on the flip side of this and you feel as though you're not good enough to work with other people, or like you don't have enough experience, or you're just really insecure, if you feel like you need someone else's validation to feel like whatever you're doing is good enough, I'm going to tell you 2 mantras that I came up with that I live by these days. The first one, and this is going to change your life, okay? No one's validation will make your work any better than it already is, period. The second one is never trade authenticity for approval. I also believe that your aura tells a really beautiful story here, so I decided to incorporate the picture that you guys chose in the very beginning. I think that when you look at someone else's art, and in this picture, the girl is looking at the moon, right? So let's say the moon is someone else's art. When you look at that, you are thinking something like, I could never do that much. My work won't ever be like that. It's so big, it's so beautiful, it's so bright, it's so confident, and it looks so amazing the way that it is. And I'm just here, I'm just a person, and the moon is this big, beautiful, bright thing that lights up the sky and has so much energy and beautiful energy attached to it. And I'm just a human here on Earth, and I'll never have that kind of energy. Here's the thing, though, and this is really cool how this came through. So this started to look like an iris by the time I was done with it. And when I put the picture that you guys chose into the iris, it looked as if the moon... Okay, how do I explain it? It's kind of like an Inception type of deal. Like a thing within a thing within a thing. So the picture is the girl looking at the moon. But the moon, I feel like, represents the iris as well. And the iris is looking at you. So you're looking at someone else's art thinking, wow, that's beautiful. The moon is looking at you, looking at the... Okay, wait. This is going to sound weird, but like, the moon is watching you, watching it, being like, that's beautiful. That's art. That's an incredible thing. And I even started to see, right here, you'll notice, after I was done with it, before I added in the picture, I was seeing like these little Christmas light bulbs. And I thought that was so cute. Like the way that it lights up around the aura, it just looked like it was being lit up by Christmas lights underneath. And it was so pretty and so comforting. You could be born around Christmas time, December or January or November. So it could be Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius. And I didn't even realize this, but like the aura that I drew like fit the colors of the picture that you chose so well. Like it felt like it was meant to be there. But you'll see what I mean about how when I put the image of the girl into the eye, it's like she's looking at the moon, but the moon is looking back at her, and the moon represents like that whole energy. Like your guys' energy. Okay. I don't even know how to explain this. It's just so cool, and I wish I could explain it better, but the aura is also an eye that is representative of the energy shared between you and the moon. And that means that if the girl is looking at the moon, that would have to mean that the moon is also looking at the girl, and the energy that is the eye that we're looking at is seeing that whole interaction as art. The eye isn't looking at just the girl or just the moon. It's like that energy is art. And so I think that once you realize that just everything is connected and that you are capable of creating beautiful pieces of art, whatever you're doing, it's going to be amazing. And you can use the energy of the moon to harness that creativity. And it's really beautiful. I hope that helps. And personally, I really love the way that the aura turned out. I think it's so cool, and I love this energy, and I hope that it made sense to you and you got the gist of what I was trying to explain. It was definitely more of a feeling than something that I could really put into words, but I tried my best. So if you did like this reading and you like what I do here on this channel, if you could please do me a solid and show me some support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing, and of course, hit that bing bong so that you never miss a new upload from me. With all that being said, I hope you have a week as beautiful as you, and I hope to see you again in the future. I love you. Bye!